Hey there, and welcome to the very first episode of City Sim Builds. So, I am a transportation engineer slash planner. I like to refer to myself as a plan engineer. That is something that people often call themselves in the line of work that I do. And also, I've been playing these sorts of city simulation games going back to when I was very young, probably when I was, I don't know, 7, 8, something like that. And I really just wanted to start a YouTube channel where I start playing these kinds of games, in particular City Skylines. I first started playing this around when it came out in the mid 2010s. And I just wanted to start building some interesting either cities or sort of like counties, things like that. And for the first one, I'm going to be using, I believe this is the Twin Fords map in City Skylines. This is a default map. And one of the reasons I like this map is because it's got all the connections. It's got, railroad. It's got these two great rivers that kind of sandwich this peninsula. And then, of course, you have access to the sea with all the different harbors and everything and cargo. And then also you have just some interesting topography here. Like you got some great canyons and just some really good spots where you could probably put some things like hydroelectric dams and whatnot. But the other reason I like it is because this map in particular gives you a really good starting point for a new city. So with new cities, they often sometimes will pop up as a small community adjacent to a highway, and it might start as like a small hamlet or something like that, or part of a township that grows into a larger area. And so that's why I like this map, and it's one that I wanted to start off with, as opposed to the typical thing in City Skylines is, you start off with like it sort of creates a nub here, and then you move on from there and you make your own roadway network with its hierarchy and all its bells and whistles and everything. But on this one, I do like the fact that it gives you this long stretch of highway that we can use as a framework to start our city off with. And so what I'm going to do to really begin this is take a look at the map here and think about where I want to place some different towns, because I'm not really going for one giant city in this build. I'm going for, I'm thinking more like small towns, or maybe like one small city or a couple small cities, or maybe one medium-sized city. And when I say that, I mean like I'm aiming for the cities to be around the 5,000 population mark. But in this build, I'm going to be using a couple mods. I have like the TMPE mod to help me with the traffic a little bit. I have the Move It mod. I'm not really going super crazy. It's pretty vanilla. I'm not going to get into things like with themes and whatnot for types of buildings. I'm going to kind of just let the game do its thing. But yeah, without any further ado, let's start taking a look at the map area and see where we want to place our first city. All right, so right off the bat, I think I'm going to be placing a town that's sort of on the bank of this river over here. The reasons I like that is because it's close to this highway up here, and I think we could use some of the terrain to snake a road down to where we could have, like a nice like riverside community that would be sort of the bedrock of this area. But in looking at this, I definitely see some other areas. I think this would be a great spot for having some sort of harbor or something like that, since you have the ocean right there and the land is pretty flat. I think this might be a good spot for a larger city. And coming over here, you have another great spot, especially with the rail connection here. But I also want to think of things like maybe there's somewhere we could put like a mountain town or a mountaintop town, and this might be a good spot up here. I think those are always kind of neat, and I'm thinking of places like out in the Mountain West where you might have a small town kind of nestled over here in a valley on a plateau or something like that. And I think there's another spot over here. Yeah, like right here. I think this would be either a good spot for maybe forestry, like a forestry industry, or another town like that. So let's get into building our first city. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the typical thing where you have to build the first road like that to get started. And then I'm going to just use dirt roads for right now because they're very inexpensive. They don't cost a lot to upkeep and to place. And what I really want to do is get us down to the river down here. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating a dirt road from this new connection point. And also, what I'm intending to do with this highway here in the future is to build an interchange or something like that. So this isn't going to remain an at-grade intersection going into the future. But yeah, let's get started on our first roadway connection. And so what I'm trying to do is just roughly follow some of the topography here. And we'll do maybe like a minor switchback since this is kind of a pretty steep grade, and making our way down to maybe I'll come down to this area, and that'd be a nice spot to build our first city. So let's snake the road back over this way. Let me come around, thinking something kind of like that, and then let's carry this on down slowly to about here. So let's take a look at it, what we have. So we have, this, see, you have a pretty steep grade here, and what I'm really trying to do is lessen that grade by coming down this way and making something that's a little bit more manageable in a flat spot. And I'm noticing this area right off the bat, and I'm pretty sure this is probably something with some resources underneath, either ore or oil or something like that. So I'm going to avoid that for the moment. But what I am going to do is, way too close. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to start creating my grid here. So I'm going to come over something like that. And I think I'm going to kind of just sort of hug the coast here. Not the coast, the edge of the river, but staying above the steep part of the bank. But I'll come in somewhere like that, and then we'll connect these two up with a nice curve. So find our spot about here, and I think that'll be good. And then, so maybe I'll use this part of the curve here as our focal point for starting the grid of our new city. So I'm going to come out about 10 units. Oh, still have my different tool on there. I come about 10 units, then I'm gonna go over also about to this guideline here and then come back in. And so at first it's gonna be kind of a wonky situation with the grid, and that's okay because, especially if you look at older cities, the grids aren't perfect. Like surveying is not what it was or what it is today. So I think that's perfectly fine if some of this is a little bit wonky at first. But yeah, I'm going to come along here and try to imagine, let's see, so we're pretty symmetrical here, but I'm going to try and imagine we have something that goes up to about here. And this is going to be the core of our first town. I'm thinking some commercial along this stretch, and then we're going to have some low density residential spreading off to the side of it. So we'll come up and connect that, then bring this up, connect that, then we'll connect these like that. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of what's happening in this location. See if I can move this a little bit to make it a little bit more square. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but I think that'd be good.